Good evening, everybody. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Land Use Committee. Present from the committee to begin the evening, I'm the chair, Rick Lipoff, and we have at home councilors Mark Laredo, Andrea Kelly, Alicia Bowman, Andrea Downs. I think that's everybody. From the Law Department, we have Jonah Temple. We have Katie Wewell from the Planning Department. And Scott Matthews is our clerk who is here as well. Okay, the first item of the night is going to be the last item of the night, originally. 204-23, Mildred McMullen, trustee Milmac Trust, request to allow a drive-in business and associated parking waivers, to allow a freestanding sign, and to allow oversized directional signs at 940 Boylston Street. Late in the day today, the committee received a letter to withdraw this petition without prejudice. Is there any discussion on this item? On the acceptance? Anybody? Councillor Downs?
Thank you, Chair. I would support the petition.
Excuse me?
I said I support the petition. Do you need a motion?
Okay, you support the letter of where to withdraw. Okay, thank you very much. We don't necessarily need a motion, but I will poll the committee. We will take the vote on it. Does it have to be a roll call? What do you think? Might as well. We'll take a roll call vote to accept this withdrawal without prejudice.
Councillor Bowman?
Aye.
Councillor Downs?
Aye.
Councillor Greenberg? Councillor Kelly?
Aye.
Councillor Laredo?
Aye.
Councillor Lipoff?
Aye.
Councillor Lucas?
Aye.
And Councillor Markowitz?
Okay, thank you. We accept that. It passes. Just give us 1 second here. We're trying to, is that good now? Somebody at home say hello.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, it's still kind of low. We're having trouble hearing here, but we'll just have to pay
I
attention.
can scream.
Well, that was good. That was much better.
Okay, I'll scream.
It's very strange. We don't know why. It's our sound bar here, which usually is too loud.
Yeah, it was working this afternoon too.
Interesting, and was working this afternoon. Well, just keep working on that, Mr. Matthews. Okay, the next 3 items are to be taken up together. 197-23, Terrence Morris, request to amend conditions within special permit 393-23 at 136-144 Hancock Street. 198-23, Norton Point Street LLC, 106 River Street LLC, David Oliveri, to request a special permit 44722 at 106 River Street. And 199-23-23, 71 Commonwealth Ave, request a special permit 50422 at 71 Com Ave. We're taking these up together because, as you remember, we discussed there is a request here to change the vibration control language, and as everybody has noticed in their packet, there was an ordinance that has been drafted that I want to thank the Law Department and the Planning Department for spending time on. I think they got this right. I'm going to go to Ms. Wewell and Mr. Temple together, or one or the other, to speak about this.
Presentation. I'd also like to know Commissioner of Public Buildings, Josh Morse, is here, who we learned a lot from in crafting the ordinance. So here we go. So tonight we have a presentation that accompanies a corresponding memo issued on Friday for 3 special permit projects that are seeking to amend their vibration control condition. These 3 projects are 136 to 144 Hancock Street, 106 River Street, and 71 Commonwealth Ave. They were each approved between December 2022 and April 2023. They represent 31 units of approved housing by special permit. Since 2021, there has been increased attention to vibratory impacts from construction. Starting at the end of 2021, a vibration mitigation condition was incorporated into special permit projects at the direction of the Land Use Committee of the City Council. The condition as applied is comprehensive and was based off of state blasting regulations. As the condition was applied, staff discovered challenges with the condition as projects navigated both the special permit process as well as the comprehensive permit process under the ZBA. In February 2023, as part of the special permit process, the Land Use Committee, or as part of the standard condition discussion, the Land Use Committee endorsed the splitting of the condition. One version was to be applied to 1 to 25 units that does not have a provision of the condition that requires a $100,000 mitigation fund. Projects with more than 25 units were directed to be subject to this $100,000 vibration mitigation fund. In June 2023, the 3 subject properties applied to have had to have the condition altered. At the last land use hearing on June 6th, staff were tasked with researching and developing a set of regulations which are reasonable in terms of protections offered and would apply to both special permit projects as well as by right projects. This resulted in a different approach than a special permit condition. After consulting with experienced leaders in the public buildings department, specifically Commissioner Josh Morse, who is here tonight, in addition to engineering, inspectional services, law, and planning. Staff are now recommending an ordinance to apply to all projects in the city. Staff are confident that the ordinance is well developed to be applied to the subject special permits prior to being hopefully adopted as an ordinance. The planning department anticipates docketing an item in August for discussion in September around the vibration control ordinance. The current condition was based off of state blasting regulations and inconsistently applied as the condition evolved. Two of the subject projects tonight do have that $100,000 mitigation fund when they are both below 25 units. If they were approved after February 2023, their condition would look different. Also, staff learned that a one-size-fits-all approach in terms of how the condition is written, specifically around the pre- and post-construction surveys, do not capture site conditions and construction methods. When constructing city projects, Commissioner Morse tailors his approach based on specifics of the project. The proposed ordinance, if adopted, would apply to both by right and special permit projects. One of the biggest changes is that based on the type of construction, a licensed and insured geotechnical professional would be required to evaluate methods of construction and site conditions to inform a vibration control plan. If the City Council wishes to incorporate additional provisions around this for special permit projects after an ordinance is adopted, they may exceed the scope of the ordinance when considering conditions for a special permit. While staff recommends the ordinance as written be applied to these 3 projects, there is also a provision built in that allows the future hypothetically approved ordinance to supersede if the ordinance language were to change prior to a project filing for their building permit. Thank you, and that concludes the presentation. Deputy City Solicitor Jonah Temple, Commissioner Josh Morse, and I will do our best to answer any questions from the committee. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much. This was really well done upon my review. I think one of the best things about this is that what we had before was something that we dealt with only through special permits, and this is going to apply for all new construction. Councilor Laredo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too am very appreciative that we appear to be taking a very reasoned approach based on factual information from our Commissioner of Public Buildings as to what an appropriate standard should be. Certainly, I also like the flexibility on a larger scale special permit project where we may have more folks who could be affected by blasting, that we reserve and have the ability to impose additional conditions. I guess and I think the language as proposed is reasonable. My only question is, I know we're going to get a licensed geotechnical engineer, I think is the phraseology used. And that's good. I know we rely on licensed professionals on a regular basis in inspectional services, but what do we do if it turns out that in fact blasting, for example, does take place? We didn't do any inspections beforehand, and there's a problem. What's the process that we employ in that situation?
So once they dig into it, what they thought was going to be isn't, because now there's blasting. That's a great question. Mr. Morrison, Mr. Temple, or Ms. Wewell, anything on a catch-all that along the way, if things change, how do we deal with that?
I can be the first to attempt to answer this. And I do think our terminology here is important because blasting actually is not covered by this ordinance. Blasting is covered by state regulations. And if there's a violation if there's blasting done in violation of the state ordinances or state laws, I'm sorry, then that's a separate issue. That's enforced by the state and by the fire department.
That's right.
If there is thinking through in terms of the local ordinance of other site work that causes vibration, I believe we have written in the ordinance that it's a $300 a day fine, which is the same and the maximum we can do for violation of our local ordinances.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a perfect solution, but I'm not sure we're going to get a perfect solution here. So I'm appreciative of that. Thank you very much. Appreciate the response.
Thank you, Councilor Kelly.
Thank you. I think this is a really good step in the right direction. I like that we're thinking about docketing an ordinance for this, as we've seen with other things like rodent control. It's good to have consistent policy that apply across the board, and in this case both for by right and special permit. And I like that it's in a way project and site specific. Some projects may have vibration issues, some may have ledge, etc. So I too, as all the previous speakers have said, will just Lipoff and Loretta, I really appreciate the work that went into this. I think it's a great start, and I'd be happy to be part of a group of signers who docket this item. And I think the idea to use the language like this towards these three projects that are before us before we have an ordinance is also a good idea. So good start. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. And so we want to pass these tonight with this language attached, knowing also that when this item goes to zoning and planning, and I just want to let everybody know that the clerk, Scott Matthews, has done some research and reports that he feels this should go in front of zoning and planning. So I think that's where it's going to go, but that may change. But when this is passed, there will be work done. It may pass just the way it is, but if it's altered in any way, that will apply the final ordinance will apply to these three petitions, okay? I have Amy by the way, Tariq Lucas, Councilor Lucas is here. I don't think I said that before. Is your hand up? Go ahead.
I'm always here. Just a friendly amendment to or change to the draft council order in 13F. It says the commissioner or his designee. You might want to change it to his/her designee. Just a friendly change. Just trying to do the right thing.
Very nice. Okay. I see Amy Sangiolo's hand is up. The public hearings are still open, so I'll take comment. Ms. Sangiolo?
Hi, thank you. Amy Sangiolo, 389 Central Street. I do like the new ordinance, and I think it definitely is an improvement. My only question, which I thought Councilor Laredo was going to go into in more detail, it looks like with, I guess it's broken into several sections. So Section 1 provides quite a bit of protection. It requires sort of outreach to residents about the possibility of a survey. But option 2 is the licensed engineer who comes in and says, I've looked at it and I don't think it's going to have an impact. I guess the question is, what if he's wrong or she's wrong, right? So the only reason I bring this up is from that senior living, Sunrise Senior Living down in Newton Corner, right? Where I thought the land use committee went through and tried to make sure that there were adequate protections for the residents. But, and I'm pretty sure that they were assured that, don't worry, it's not going to cause damage to your neighboring properties. But then it did. So that's the only thing that I'm concerned about. I am very much in favor of the Walker Center project and the River Street project. I think they're great projects. I always am concerned when someone comes back to try to make an amendment to a condition that was agreed to that the neighbors all thought were great. But in this case, I see the reasoning behind it. I like the new proposed ordinance, but I am concerned by that one out, which is a licensed engineer can go and say, don't worry, it's not going to be a problem. But what is the recourse for the residents? That's all. Thank you.
Okay, I'll let Mr. Temple speak to the recourse. I will say that the same way that the building department takes and requires a stamped plan to get a building permit by a licensed architect, if something goes wrong structurally and something isn't built appropriately, it falls back on that licensed architect. And this in the same way is, you know, you're licensed, you're doing business. If you don't do it accurately, if you don't do it honestly, you're going to lose your license, you're going to lose your livelihood. So there's a lot of things that are done in the building process that you must be licensed for just for those same reasons. Mr. Temple, can you talk to any recourse if something goes wrong?
Yeah, I mean, the recourse is really a private litigation matter, just as it is now under the condition we've been using. If one private property owner damages the property of another, that's a private claim that the city is not going to get involved in. I mean, we're doing everything we can to avoid the damage taking place to begin with, but you know, things always happen regardless of the level of precautions, and that's going to be a private claim.
Mr. Morse?
Thank you. So first of all, in my 15 years for the city, land use is the only standing committee that I have not attended. So it is a pleasure to be here this evening.
Welcome.
Thank you.
That's great.
So it's a great question by Amy Sangiolo. And Councilor Lipoff really hit the nail on the head. In this situation, what would be happening is a project that felt, or say a general contractor or an owner that felt that geotechnical vibration monitoring control plan was not necessary, they would need to get a geotechnical consultant to issue a signed stamped letter stating that in their professional opinion, it's not necessary for whatever the reasons are as outlined in that letter. That would be something that would be submitted to inspectional services. at the time of seeking a building permit. So as Jonah mentioned, in that event, the protection really is that that individual would be themselves and their firm would be held responsible in addition to the owner and or general contractor. So it's another person with professional licensure that is putting their name, reputation, and really company on the line. And then beyond that, of course, as Jonah mentioned, it would be something taken up in the courts.
Okay, Ms. Angelo?
No, I appreciate that, but I mean, it's a little different when, yeah, I mean, with Counselor Lipoff's example where it's like, say, I go for a special permit and my architect said that everything was going to be fine, and then there was an issue. Well, that's my problem, right, as the permit applicant. But when you're talking about impacting abutters, it's a little different. I don't want to hold this project up. I think it's, like I said, they're great projects and I totally support them. My concern is if there's damage or injury to some of these other properties, what is the recourse? I hear private right of action. That's always a recourse, but you also know how difficult that is, right, as a private citizen. So, thank you.
I understand what you're saying, but the city can't take on those kind of liabilities, and we don't do that with a lot of things, such as engineers who put drainage in on sites. And I mean, we could go on, but I appreciate your comments, Ms. Angelo. Tom Gagan.
Yes, my name is Tom Gagan, 32 Front Street. I live about a block from the Walker Center, and I'm only talking about that. I think, as Amy Sangiulo said, it's a great project. It should go forward expeditiously. I'm surprised that there's an issue with vibrations here. I don't see any blasting is going to be done on the site, or perhaps I'm wrong. But this is a good project. It'll cause they'll tear down a house. It'll cause some confusion and some delays on Grove Street. But this is a real good project. Anything the council could do to get this project going forward, I'd much appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gagan. We've already approved all of these. This was a request coming back for the petitioner to lose the vibration piece of it because it had changed and it was really overreaching. So we've already voted for him and we'll take care of this tonight and move it forward. Thank you. Anybody else before we vote on these? Okay. Can I take them, do I do them individually? I'll take them individually. Can I have a motion on 197-23, please, Hancock Street? Councillor Downs, I see your hand is up.
Also, I see Terry Morris's hand is up. I had a little comment before. I'll move it if you wish. And that was just how much I appreciate the work of the staff on this. This is exactly how I would like to be doing rulings, is to first have all the data and have it thoughtfully assembled for us. So I really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to voting for this. So I'll move that item. And I'll move to close the public hearing on it.
Thank you. Councillor Kelly.
I was just going to make a motion on the Hancock Street as Ward 4, close to Ward, because I'm Ward 3, close to Ward 4, but Councillor Downs already did that. So
okay. All right.
Thanks.
Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the ability to speak. I won't say but a few words. It's incumbent upon me basically to everyone who supported this, but I'm particularly owe a debt of gratitude to the team that put this together. It's worth repeating a statement that I made online when we received the Planning Department's recommendation and report. On behalf of my clients and petitioners, we feel this is a well-reasoned, comprehensive, and timely response to the issues presented by each of these petitions. The sensitivity to the potential delay for each of these projects was artfully balanced with the need for a more global amendment. And we thank all the people involved, starting with Commissioner Morse, Commissioner Turcarelli, the city engineer, Lou Taverna, Director Heath, Deputy Director Kyra, and Chief Planner Katie Wewell, as well as my dear colleague Jonah Temple. Thank you very much for your participation, your contribution. From where we sit, it is well received and appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Okay, on 197-23, 136, 144 Hancock Street, we have a motion to close the public hearing by Councillor Downs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, the public hearing is closed. We don't have to go over any council orders on these, do we? Question to planning?
I defer to Attorney Temple. I have them ready. They're pretty much the same.
And just including this new language?
Yeah, I don't think you need to.
I don't think we need to go over those.
It
So,
was in the packet about 5 times. So I'm
yes, they
sure.
have. Okay, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll on this one.
Counselor Bowman,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg, Counselor Kelly,
Aye.
Counselor Laredo,
Aye.
Counselor Lipoff,
Aye.
Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
Counselor Markowitz. Motion passes.
Thank you. And the next one, 198-23, Norton Point Street, 106 River Street. We motion to close the public hearing by Councillor Lucas. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, it is closed. And we have a motion to approve by Councillor Lucas. Please call the roll.
Counselor Bowman,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg, Counselor Kelly,
Aye.
Counselor Laredo,
Aye.
Counselor Lipoff,
Aye.
Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
Counselor Markowitz. Motion passes.
Thank you. 199-23, 71 Commonwealth Ave. Councillor Lucas, a motion to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
abstentions? Public hearing is closed. We have a motion to approve by Councillor Lucas. Please call the roll.
Counselor Bowman,
Aye.
Counselor Downs,
Aye.
Counselor Greenberg, Counselor Kelly,
Aye.
Counselor Laredo,
Aye.
Counselor Lipoff,
Aye.
Counselor Lucas,
Aye.
Counselor Markowitz. Motion passes.
Thank you very much. That concludes our business. Could be a record at 7:25. Have a good rest of your evening, everybody.